was shortly after 2 in the afternoon when the Missouri Pacific freight train jumped the rails on the outskirts of Houston. 18 cars piled up. Many of them carried dangerous chemicals, and several of them exploded. Firemen struggled to relay water to the scene, but the nearest fire hydrant was several hundred yards away, and the flames grew steadily hotter. Fire officials feared another explosion and ordered all the houses in the area evacuated. Fireman Andy Nelson was on a ladder trying to keep another tank from exploding. Fire Chief Jim Honey was unable to find out what was in the burning car.
Do you want them to come out on Macau Road?
Yes, sir.
Send the 2 more pumpers over on the Macau Road side. Well, keep your water then. Here, keep it cool as much as you can. Let the fire burn. That's right. They think it's ethyl chloride on fire, and we're going to have to let it burn down. There's nothing we've got here to put that out.
Violent chemical explosion blew Nelson off his ladder. Nelson was burned severely. Another fireman was burned to death.
Tell me, hurry. Come load it, man. Lay down, buddy.
Dozens of people got first aid at the scene, while ambulances and automobiles rushed 36 injured firemen and 6 newsmen to hospital.
How about my face? It's hot, but I don't think it's... No, it's okay. I'm okay.
I don't know. I'll give you that.
Oh! Let's get in the hospital, bud. Let's go. We got a hospital. Come on. Oh! Get back there. You can do the hospital.
You're scared of the deck, you shouldn't be on it. Most of them are fearless.
The first time I went on the flight deck, I was scared to death. I was 18 years old, just out of high school. It was like in The Wizard of Oz, I wasn't in Kansas no more.
This is some of the most dangerous 4.5 acres under American control. A floating airport packed with 85 warplanes.
First time I was up there, I was scared of getting sucked up into an airplane. I was scared of getting blown down by airplanes. I was scared of getting burned by the exhaust. Standing in the wrong spot, maybe getting run over by an airplane.
Aircraft all over the place. Launching, recovery. It was great.
Airplanes are flown onto and off of the Kennedy with the precision and speed of a jet-powered ballet.
Heads up for the emerging Invader aircraft. People stay out of the port network forward. Stay clear of the power line.
Tonight on 48 Hours.
The era of the Soviet Empire is past.
The heroes behind the headlines.
There is an eternal struggle between the good and evil.
Ordinary people making history.
This is a remembrance of what we don't have.
20 years ago, we came to the dark, and now we are going to the light.
It is the reminder that this nation was once independent, and it is the argument that it should be independent again.
The triumphs. The struggles still to come.
We can do it according to the plan.
Gorbachev needs credibility.
And in the next 48 hours, another chance to change the world.
He needs this tremendous moral authority of the Holy Father.
A special edition from Rome, 48 hours at Freedom's Gate.
Hello from Rome. Tomorrow, Mikhail Gorbachev and Pope John Paul II will meet here in the Vatican. The first time a Soviet General Secretary has met a Pope. Then on Saturday, Gorbachev and President Bush began their summit at sea. Superpowers trying to keep up with the fast-moving events that have changed the face of Europe in just the past few weeks. Come along with us now for a special 48 hours, a look through the torn remnants of the Iron Curtain, as the world as we have known it for the past 45 years becomes history. We begin with 48 Hours correspondent Bernard Goldberg here in Rome, where communism and Catholicism are about to meet.
If you're looking for a religion, this isn't a bad place to start. Mikhail Gorbachev's religion, of course, is politics, which makes tomorrow's meeting here at the Vatican all the more historic. The Vicar of Christ sitting down with the world's foremost disciple of atheism. What in heaven's name is going on?
What is in it, if I could be so undiplomatic?
Yes.
What's in it for Mr. Gorbachev, and what's in it for the Pope?
Monsignor Ivan Dachko is a leader in the Ukrainian Catholic Church. He's been pushing for this Vatican summit for years.
The Pope wants to get full religious freedom for all believers, particularly for Christians, or better still for the Catholics in the Soviet Union.
That's what the Pope wants. In exchange, Gorbachev wants the Pope to visit the Soviet Union and to tell his flock, mostly the 5 million Catholics in the Ukraine where the church is still illegal, to be peaceful, to stay calm, and to stop agitating for independence from Moscow.
So the Pope says, Mr. Gorbachev, if you want loyal citizens, translation, if you don't want a rebellion, if you want happy people, translation, if you don't want them to revolt and start a revolution against you, then you give them religious freedom, and I'll see to it that they're loyal and happy.
You see, but the Holy Father doesn't speak like that.
No, you don't want to think that he speaks that way. But
no, the Holy Father speaks with the language of truth. And also, I know you're trying hard as a Christian, as a priest. I want to help you. But in order to help you, you should just comply to basic human rights, which, according to my belief, is the law of Christ, is the law of God. And if you do this, you'll have peace and quiet in your home.
So the Pope doesn't have to take Mr. Gorbachev's arm, twist it behind his back.
No, this is a Holy Father. I mean, the Holy Father will say, listen, let's become friends. Let's start dialogue.
This is how Father Dachko begins each day, with prayers at the Ukrainian church in Rome. But if it's piety in the morning, it's politics after that.
Usually we get some messages from Moscow. This is the fax machine.
And there's also last-minute scrambling, on this afternoon with U.S. diplomats to round up support for the cause.
What will you ask the diplomats inside this embassy to pass on to President Bush?
Please, Monsignor Dachko, Please, once again, remind Mr. Gorbachev that the Ukrainian Catholic Church is still illegal in the Soviet Union, and do everything you can to have it legalized within the nearest future.
And while the future of his church may be in question, its past is well preserved. An exhibit of Russian religious art, icons, right next door to St. Peter's. It's an exhibit that Father Dachko hopes Mikhail Gorbachev will visit.
I think it would be a good thing to do, and I think he would see how religious his people are. By seeing this, he'll be proud that his people have produced such a high art throughout the ages.
Symbols, images have always been important in the realm of religion, but images are also important in the modern secular world.
Doesn't Gorbachev gain a whole bunch of respectability by being seen with the Pope?
Definitely. Definitely he does. And he knows this too. And once again, he's a very clever, shrewd person. And he needs this image too. And the Holy Father, seeing that he's a man of good intentions, is willing to give it to him.
But even here, where they believe everything is possible, there are earthly limits to their faith.
But you don't expect Mr. Gorbachev to show up at church on Sunday, though?
No, not yet. No, not yet, at least.
You say yet.
Well, who knows? I mean, human nature is